You know, for 1 second, yeah, 1 second, I almost thought to like write this entire game off, and just based on the fact that the team's fatigued right now. The team's tired. I mean, many high pressure games, high intensity games we played in a row, and eventually that's going to catch up on you. But I can't use that excuse, you guys. If I was to lead with that, I'd be talking crap and I'd be making an excuse, because tonight this was a poor performance all round. I felt like not only was it a lot of lethargy on the field today from the players, a lot of poor mistakes. I think for me, the entire framework to actually win the game tonight didn't really exist, and I kind of felt like this was another mistake from Tuchel from this season. I just felt like the way we played today, the final half an hour just kind of screamed out there was no real plan to win this game. I mean, that final half an hour, sideways pass after sideways pass after sideways pass, the same mechanical automatisms time and time again. And it's like not once did we penetrate Arsenal, not once were we able to stretch their defensive lines, create some havoc, create some 1v1 moments. This is why I mentioned this point about things being a bit textbook at times, because it feels like, in theory, if we aren't winning the game, in which we should, there seems to be no other solutions to help us get back into a game. And I think that was the most disappointing thing for me. I can excuse, maybe certain players starting in the lineup. I'm looking at Malang Sarr, I'm looking at Andreas Christensen, I'm looking at a few others, Lukaku as well too. However, that final half an hour to try and get back into the game just didn't really exist. I mean, you consider the other performances we've seen recently where we had some great successes using that midfield three of like having that lone pivot alongside like Mount and like Ruben playing in the half spaces. Playing that way just creates more verticality. It allows players to break the lines more, play a lot faster as well too. And it just feels like we missed an opportunity here tonight to be able to, play our home with some bravery. It just felt like it wasn't good enough personally. And, for Arsenal to win 4-2 tonight, it's for us losing this manner regardless. Nah, that can't happen again. It can't happen again, you guys. So in today's match review, I'm going to be talking about the goals, the mistakes, the players that stood out for the wrong reasons tonight as well too, plus my closing thoughts. Hope you guys enjoy. Smash the like button if you're even watching. And we start with things, and the lineup for me, it wasn't even the player selection that really sparked my interest, made me worry. It was the fact that we kind of went against some of the things we've been doing recently that was allowing us to create so many goals, that was allowing us to have some great chance creation as well too. I get it in that sense. Maybe Tuchel wants to see more of Lukaku and Timo Werner. It has had its success. I remember that game against Zenit, but the fact that Lukaku isn't still fully fit, it feels like when Lukaku is not fully fit, I think we can all see it. I think it's all quite evident. And I feel like it really, really just reduces the quality that he shows in the field, which doesn't really help us out, to be honest, even though we have to rely on him, because Havertz, he needs a rest because he's played too many games. I think that's safe to say. But throughout the game today, I didn't really see any combination play from them. Not once. No 1-2s, no link-ups. And I think for me, the reason why at times it doesn't necessarily work is because Lukaku has to 100% buy that he is that focal point that's going to set his teammates up. Now, Lukaku has always been the other way around for him. He's always been the guy that gets on the end of these moves. That's why I literally allowed Taro into Milan last season, being that focal point, playing with his back to goal, to release Lukaku in behind. So in theory, it's not really working. And I don't know, this Lukaku experiment is it's a shame. Ultimately, this is the reason why we haven't won the league, because he was supposed to be the big factor in helping us really push and challenge, because the only thing we needed was more consistency up front. However, it's not to be, you guys. Other mistakes I saw though, Malang Sarr and Christensen. Now, I'm surprised how maybe Trevor Chalobah's lost his place in the team quite easily. Maybe Tuchel doesn't think he's fully fit right now, might not be fully at that same intensity that he needs to see from Trevor at this point in time. They're all fair arguments, potentially. But I think it's safe to say that when you don't see certain guys starting in the lineup, you really see that lack of quality fully exposed. And, right now I'm talking about Malang Sarr. Now, I'm not going to be too harsh, because as I've said throughout the entire season, I don't think he's of our level whatsoever. Just from the eye test and from what he produces on the field as well, I just don't really think that his overall game has that type of like temperament and class that you're expecting at like a top 4 level. So I can't be going too hard on him on the mistakes he makes, because, you know, it's expected. And I'm not trying to be condescending or try to be rude, but I see it in the lack of conviction when he goes for tackles. Yes, I know he's not the biggest physically in that sense. However, it's like he's constantly like in a crossroads in his mind. It's like he's always constantly overthinking and overanalyzing because he's nervous. And I see those nerves when he plays. And I feel like this is why he has very like close performances for me. You know, a lot of times when there was opportunities on the left-hand side to like receive the ball, open your body up at the same time and play it quickly to Marcos Alonso, he'll walk forever, just play passes sideways. You know, positional sense as well, so he really panics. And that's the thing, under pressure as well, he really panics. I mean, that goal that he conceded, ultimately to make it 3-2 to Arsenal, I mean, that was terrible. And overall, the entire left-hand side, and this even goes back to Thomas Tuchel now, you didn't see that same quality, and it highlights just how important Antonio Rudiger is. He's one of the best defenders in the world. He plays that role. That left-hand side is his box, is his zone, and he completely commands it. I haven't seen a single attacking player get the better of him. And just seeing like other pretenders, I guess, playing in his position, the level in performances, the level in class, I mean, it's incomparable. You can't conceive it. And I guess it's nice to get that reminder of what separates like the very best players from like, you know, decent ones and okay ones. But and we really see it. It really is vast. But you know, for me, this is typical of Sarr's season. He's been quite lucky in that sense that due to circumstances, he remained with the squad and he didn't find a loan move in the summer. That didn't help Marcos Alonso. I think ideally he'd want to push up a bit more, but there was no real communication at all between them. Some of the gaps, and that was the thing why ultimately we lost this game. Yeah, the gaps between the wide centre backs and the wing backs was far too wide time and time again. We're seeing Arsenal players, Saka in particular, tearing up Marcos Alonso down that side. A lot of times he's got Rudiger right behind him, pushing high up, and all Marcos Alonso has to do is squeeze the space. That's how he likes to defend against wingers like this. But when you got someone behind you that you don't fully trust, you don't really ever play together as well too, there's no like levels of communication either. And I think ultimately, you know, you are going to become more susceptible to those 1v1s. And Arsenal, you know, they do have that quality to be able to, you know, expose quite a lot of teams in positions like that, especially a team like Arsenal that didn't have the, you know, the right personnel on the team. But yeah, man, you know, what is it to really say about the goals, to be honest? First goal goes to Arsenal, very poor. And Tekia, you know, it's not the first time we've seen Andreas Christensen suffer that same mistake of where he feels like a striker on his shoulder. I feel like, you know, normally the calm and composed Christensen in those moments, man, he just really feels the nerves a lot more. And I think recently, maybe the pressure of knowing that he's leaving the club end of the season, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I'm not seeing the normal Christensen that I know is composed and you rely upon in moments like that. We got a goal back quite quickly though, and it was nice that Timo Werner's that renaissance is continuing as the games are going on. And of course, a lot of fortune coming from the deflection, but ultimately, you know, he was one of our best players today. I say him, Mount, Reece James, the only ones that don't really stand or deserve any criticism. You know, Werner forcing his luck, making it, and being our most dangerous goal threat throughout the entire game. But then, of course, Arsenal equalised again, and you know, we concede because we lost that intensity in the front, and that is why I was even suggesting for a second maybe fatigue is playing a part, because in different circumstances, you know, we never concede counter-attacks like that ever. It's impossible. It just doesn't happen unless we're extremely tired, which I think is fairly fair to see right now. But again, it was a bit too easy. I mean, Alonso getting megs, you know, balls just cutting straight through our midfields. And then in the end, there was so many opportunities to minimize that danger and kill that attack. And it was just mistake after mistake after mistake. In the end, Smith Rowe gets on the end of that move. You know, I have to admit, put my hands up. It was a nice little cushion first time finish in the bottom right corner. Classy stuff. And then it was reaction time. And to be honest, I did like the reaction for our equaliser at the time, because, you know, it's like we kind of realised the mistake we made when Arsenal made it 2-1. We saw Mount and Timo Werner putting a little pressure down that left-hand side. Werner wins it, deflects off him. Mason Mount receives. And as I keep saying, Mount in positions like that, you know, when he's between the lines, you know, when he has more avenues of opportunity to like express himself and create, that's what you see. And the difference between that half and the second half, I'll explain it. what was Mount doing in the second half? He was constantly just that third man runner, trying to free up space for the midfield to get on the ball, you know, become another option for the wing back who's getting outmanned out wide. And then what's he reduced to? Runs in behind and force put a cutback cross inside the box. And it's just like, that's not an effective use for the player, I'm sorry. Not after what I've been seeing Mount doing recently, playing in that type of free role in the half space, which is his best position, coming in onto those right foot and cutting inside. That's what Mount's about. We saw that with a great pass he made to Azpilicueta. He's got that in his locker, but this shows you that if the system and how we play is not on point, a lot of players' games do get impacted. And that's why we weren't seeing Ruben going on runs, because he has to play the pivot role alongside Kante. For some reason, Kante's allowed more license to go forward because, you know, Tuchel's thinking about protecting the defence on the left-hand side, which didn't really mean anything in the end, to be honest, because Arsenal were playing so wide throughout the entire game. So, yeah, you know, it's just, for me, it's the framework, the tactics was not there today to really help, even support, like, tired fatigue players. I think some of the lineup selections as well too. But I mean, for me, in my head, as I'm going to end things, this is a 3-2 loss in my opinion, because that wasn't a penalty in the end. I mean, come on, that wasn't a penalty in the end. Like, you can even see how Saka's even holding his arm, and now literally that split second in which the referee awarded the penalty to Saka, that was when he let go of Aspi and just literally brought the entire situation. So listen, from like a professional footballer point of view, you know, that type of gamesmanship, but personally, I don't really care about it. I'll let you guys know. Gamesmanship, I don't care. I understand players are competitive and they'll do whatever they can to win a game. And ultimately, us as fans, that's what we want to see. And you'll see moments like that. But yeah, that was complete BS. Even when they saw the VAR replay, I don't understand how he still didn't disallow that. But yeah, you know, ultimately, you don't have those attacking plans to really help you get back in the game. You're not going to have a game to begin with, and you know, I'm hoping Tuchel, there's been a few times this season, you know, his errors at the start have really cost us. And you know, this is the thing with textbook managers at times, you know, they're so theoretical based that when it comes to just like having that like sniff of the game, spending the blood of the game, you know, you're feeling it, you're in the moment. It's like, I know exactly what to do to change things our way. It's worked sometimes, but it hasn't worked all the time. But regardless, you guys, we'll push on. We have to forget this game. And on that note, I'm Beanie FC, this is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.